What's up, everybody? It's your favorite group of characters that I don't really know much about. It's favorite nerd, and today we are looking at the second half of the Marvel Legends Spider-Man recent wave with the Lizard Build-A-Figure. I did get this wave from Crashbox Customs. That's who I get a lot of my Marvel Legends from, so feel free to hit him up. That's Chris Pinkerton if you're nasty. But let's go ahead and knock these three out. So we'll start with Lasher. Now, I think this is like Carnage's brother and Venom's son, like the symbiote. And this is, I could be wrong about this, but I feel like there was a time where like the symbiote thing kind of got out of control, and it was like, you get a symbiote, you get a symbiote, and there was like all these symbiotes, and this kind of where all this stuff comes from. I don't know too much about the character. I just kind of remember when it was a thing, and it may still very well be a thing. I don't read Marvel as much as I read DC, and it's been a long time. So he does have this thing glued to his back that has these extra tentacles to plug in. These tentacles I've seen before. Well, I don't know if they're the exact same that were on. There was a all black Spider-Man that kind of had this as well. I can't remember which one it was, but his are kind of always popping out. These have a little notch, and maybe these are just more defined, and they all have like a key system so you can tell which one goes into which port, etc. But these hold on, at least for me, a lot better than the black one did. So improvements are good. That's basically what I'm trying to get at. They're also all covered in this green metallic, which looks good. He has this green satin throughout, where this kind of is like a green and black mixture. Looks good as well. Has this light green done on top. All of it looks good. Like this is another one example of those like not necessarily interesting, but ended up being kind of super striking figure in terms of display because of the finish of them. And it's all done fairly clean. So now that we've covered that, let's talk about the articulation, which we've seen this mold before, so we'll kind of fly through it. The head is on a ball hinge. You get up to there, down to there, swivel. Even the downward motion, you lose a little bit of the sculpt in the back, but it's not hateful. You get the swivel. You can get a little bit of an attitude in there as well, a little bit of a confused dog look, so that's cool. We got a butterfly joint that works really well. You can get the arms all the way back to there. See, I just said how well they stuck on, and now look at me. And then forward to there, so that's nice. Really well done. And then you have ball disc hinge shoulders, get you up to there. A little tight. Swivel around. Oh, let's just knock them all off. Who am I fooling? And then we have a bicep swivel, double jointed elbow, wrist swivel, hinge in, out. And for this one, it's a hinge in, out as well. So I think that's smart. Ab crunch up, a little bit of gap in the ab crunch, but the pain at least does continue up, so that's nice. And ab crunch down, 2 clicks, so that works well. Waist swivel destroys the sculpt, but what are you gonna do? T-jointed ball joints for hips get you out to there, forward to there, back to there. So all in all, fairly well done. Thigh swivel, double jointed knee, ankle tilt up, down, and rocker. And then we have like the monster feet on them, which do look a little big, but I don't think, like I'm willing to give a pass on bigger feet, so to speak, because if it'll help a very slender figure stand, I'm willing to give it a pass and kind of forgive it. So yeah, I don't have too many issues with this. I think that this is what really excites me about Marvel Legends, when they take something that wouldn't necessarily interest me and end up creating something where it's visually interesting to look at and ends up looking better and more of more worth than it actually is. And then we have Gwenpool, who's kind of the other kind of sought after figure in this wave, I think. And I do like that they gave you these hands you can kind of do this heart thing with. Like, I think that's pretty cool. But she does come with a fair amount of accessories. These 2 swords, which are just gray plastic and then brown paint on the handles. And then she comes with her little cell phone with nothing on the screen, but it can go in this little pocket here in her suit, which I dig. And then she has an extra head with like a, like a tongue sticking out, like licking her lips kind of. A peace hand. And then 2 trigger finger hands, which are supposed to hold 2 swords. And then this hand, which I'm not exactly sure the purpose. Oh, to hold the cell phone, obviously. So that's all good. I think that's a good amount of accessories. That's not what I'm used to with Marvel Legends, having a whole bunch of accessories, but I applaud them when they do that. I definitely dig it. She also comes with 2 floating pieces, her penguin backpack, which is pretty sweet. And then this floating belt here, which is actually done well with the G sculpted on and painted. All the pockets are all sculpted nicely. And I don't have any real complaints. I do have a complaint about this figure, and it's in the legs. The way that the legs are sculpted, they kind of have to be at a very awkward angle. So this is the leg in alignment, and this is this leg in alignment. No, that is this leg in alignment. And like, as a result, it just, I don't know, it ends up throwing, it's hard to explain, but it ends up throwing the look off. I think it has to do with this shin plate here. Because what ends up happening is you kind of end up wanting to like distort the sculpt a bit to get her to stand. And it's not that you need it to stand that way. I don't know how to articulate this. It's just, I find myself feeling limited in what I can do in terms of getting her to stand in a pose that looks cool, that also makes sense for the suit and for the sculpt of the musculature and stuff. I also wish that wasn't done in black. It's a little off-putting, but I guess they have to put it somewhere. Maybe down on the bottom of the foot would have been nice, but I guess they already got stuff there. So that's that. I do have a pink smudge going from the eye. Luckily, I don't have one on this face, so this is the face I'm going to be using. I think it's sculpted well. I think that the eyes are painted well. It's just that smudge that goes into the mask that I'm not crazy about. The mouth is all sculpted well and painted well. This ball peg is too far off of the neck. Like, it makes it look crazy. Now, you can kind of cheat it a little bit, you know, from a forward angle to kind of get the look that you want. It's just not the best. Let's see if the other one is any better. No, not really. So that's a bit of a bummer. You do get a ball hinge. You should get a crazy amount of articulation, but it's always going to look bad. Maybe all the way up, I mean, but it's past the point of like actually physically possible. So yeah, I mean, you get a lot of attitude out of it, which is nice. It's just it sits too far off the neck, and the neck is maybe too long. There's just a lot of issues with it. Single ball peg for the chest. All the paint is very clean, like it's a white base. The pink is painted on, but it's painted clean on the front and the back, and then the silver is painted, and you do get a little wrinkles, stuff around the neck. That all looks good. Disc hinge shoulders to get you the full range. You get a bicep swivel at the elbow. There is some paint issues here because this is actually a pink piece of plastic and they painted white over top. Same for here, and it's chipping off and it doesn't look great because it's white over top of another color, which always ends up looking poor. So that's unfortunate. We do have some paint smudges here as well. They are sculpted nicely for the most part, and then you have a wrist swivel and hinge in out. All of these hands hinge in out. And then you have the same for the other side. You have T-jointed ball joints for hips. Oh, let's talk about this. So you have this belt on here. That's all, actually that's glued on. So that's another floating piece, but I didn't notice it. So that's actually pretty cool. I dig that. And then the suit is painted clean as well. So you have T-jointed ball joints for hips. They get you out to there. And then forward and back to there. Oh God, these legs, I'm telling you. So like, you gotta have it here, but then like the foot, so like that is straight, but then I feel like this section here needs to shift like 10 degrees or maybe 5 degrees inward. And it's the same thing here. Like that's straight. That's maybe you can see it better on this one. That's straight. That's her straight leg, but look how off center the shin pad is. Like the shin pad should be moved more inward. So it ends up, it's a little distracting. It's a little distracting. But anyway, you T-jointed ball joints, you get out to there, forward and back to there, thigh swivel, double jointed knee. This is beige or, you know, skin tone painted on top of white plastic, which isn't terrible, but it doesn't match perfectly either, but it's not horrible at the same time. I think you'd forgive it on a shelf. The boots are all, or like the shin pads are all sculpted nicely. The sock is sculpted nicely. You got wrinkles in it. The pink is all painted clean. And then you have an ankle joint, like a separate ankle joint. So that swivels down here. And then you have a hinge on that gets you your ankle tilt up, down, and rocker. So there are some extra part pieces for this. Like I think they really gave this, I think to be fair, even though it has issues, you know, some of the issues being fairly significant, like the way that the legs kind of work, I think they really tried. Like, I think they cared about this one. It's just there's just some problems with it that are hard to dismiss, and they're mainly in the legs. And I don't know, I just don't know if I can get that point across, but like the legs are straight, and I feel like the shin pads are off. I think that's ultimately what it comes down to. Like, I feel like the shin pad needs to be there and there, right? But when you do that, the knees are now knock-kneed, and then the thigh cut is off. Hope that makes sense. And this is Spider-Punk. I only know him from the Spider-Verse story. I mean, he's a pretty cool character. But, like, a lot of these Marvel Legends, you know, like, I'm like, man, like, I don't know. I start to feel self-conscious because I don't know where they all are. Like, if I give a collection tour or something, I'd be like...
And then up here, I have all my Marvel Legends, and I know about 70% of them. 65. And look, at least 60%. I know who they are.
But anyway, here he is. He comes with his guitar. That's his accessory. And it's pretty well done. It's sculpted nicely. You got like the little kind of, I don't know if you can see that. Like, I think that's all true to form. And then, like, the strings and stuff are all sculpted. It could have been painted to give it, like, a nicer look, but the strap is glued on. I think it's okay. And then you have him. He does have this loose piece over top, the jean jacket with all the buttons. Would have been nice if they had some stuff on the buttons, but what are you going to do? And then you have this on the back that is sculpted and painted and looks nice. So you have the Spider-Man head, and then you have the punk spikes sticking out of it. They're all painted clean except for this front one, of course, which is going to be the main one you see that has some silver over top of the red. Otherwise, that's all painted fairly well. The lines are painted fairly clean. The only issue I have is, for whatever reason, maybe that's because this is blue paint. But see, this is blue plastic, and that's red painted over top, and it looks fine. But this is blue plastic, and that's red painted over top, and it looks very dull. So that's the only real issue I have with it. There is, you know, the constant issue of the pins being red. Like, so I just had a conversation recently with someone about that at NJCC, and they're right. I was defending Marvel Legends, but they're right. They need to fix this. They need to get a hold of that. You know, I don't know. They just... if they need to create pins that are like cast in 2 different colors. I'm not sure what the kind of the fix is for that, but they need to come up with one. And then the shoes are all sculpted and painted nicely. And then they swivel here because they're just a separate piece that pegs in. So that's cool. He also comes with 2 extra hands. So you got the devil horns hands and then the guitar pick hands, and then you have like playing, like, so you can have this like holding the guitar, and then a fist hand. So that's cool. All right, articulation wise, the head goes down to there, up to there, swivels. That's all good, and it moves smoothly, which is nice. Shoulders, not so much as usual. They're a pain to get up, but you can get up to there, and they swivel around. And you have a butterfly joint getting you back to there, forward to there. You have an ab crunch that gets you down to there and up to there. Waist swivel, T-jointed ball joints for hips, thigh swivel, double jointed knee, ankle swivel, ankle tilt slightly up, a good bit back, and the rocker. For the arms, you have the bicep swivel, double jointed elbow, wrist swivel, and hinge in out. And it's the same for these, which is appropriate. So yeah, it's, you know, this is kind of... it's cool. It's cool to have it, and it was a pretty cool character in that story. I don't know much about the character outside of that, but you know, this is another one of those Build-A-Figure throw-ins, right? Where you got to get it, but for what it is, I think it's pretty well done. Final thoughts-wise, surprisingly, I think of this wave, Lasher's probably the best done. Lasher and Mysterio probably. And Spider-Woman. The Gwenpool has a lot of issues. It's a fun figure. Comes with a lot of accessories, which I do enjoy. And I think you have a lot of fun with pictures and stuff and posing and all that sort of stuff. But that leg issue is really problematic. The paint is clean on her, and the articulation works, but the head sitting so far off the neck and then the legs kind of being just out of sorts can cause some frustration. The Spider-Punk is kind of a straightforward Spider-Man figure with a few bells and whistles, making it a little extra fun. So I think if you're into the character, you'll be happy with that. And Lasher is actually really, really well done. So I can give a soft recommend to all of them, a strong recommend to Lasher. I can also give a recommend if you're into the characters. And as far as the Build-A-Figure, we'll talk about that soon. Thanks for listening. Thanks for watching. Until next time, take care.